What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's the day after the massacre. Hope everyone's calmed down. I hope you're all well. We're going to go through some additional thoughts on the Crystal Palace game, but obviously the main title of the video is what it is. It's very, forthright and very forward, but it's what I believe needs to happen in terms of the rest of the seasons. And I will, of course, give my reasons why, as well as show you a few numbers. You know me, I'm not really a numbers guy, but sometimes people need to see it to believe it, because you can hear it and it goes out one ear, but when your eyes see it, hey, you have to take that on board, I'm afraid. So listen, before I get into it, please hit a like on the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and obviously drop your comments afterwards if you agree or disagree, but just keep it respectful as always. Yesterday was not a good one in terms of the game, and in terms of the match reaction. My head was absolutely lost. I don't even know how I got through it. I even look back at it. I don't usually watch my stuff back, but I was quite proud of how composed I kept it in the most, especially with some of the silly comments that were being made. So pat on the back to me. Pat on the back to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got to big yourself up all the time. John L saying great to join live. No, thank you for joining me. And whether you watching live or the replay, it all means as much, man. So thank you. Jack is saying, "How do you feel today?" I'm still fuming. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm really not happy. But obviously, it's 24 hours, so you get a little bit more time to decompress. And I'll be honest, I've only watched a couple of the goals back, because I needed to make sure of certain points that I wanted to say, and and that is it. I have not watched the highlights back, and I didn't watch Match of the Day. No Sky Sports, the YouTube video, nothing. I just couldn't do it, and I'm not going to do it. There's no need to go through it again. I can still see it now. I can still see Elise dancing around our defense like they're not even there. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, respect, Cade. Hope you well, man. Brian C saying, I never turn off a game, but I couldn't watch the last 10 minutes. Fair play for keeping cool. Yeah. Paul saying unacceptable capitulation in that second half. Yep. And you also said earlier, Paul, which I had to start because it's true. Luke Ayling, not a Premier League player, been a great servant to the club, but this level is too much for him. People love to revise. He was awful last season as well. And that's the main bit I wanted to get from that, Paul, was that it always happens with these guys. Even someone yesterday, I mean, this guy that always comes in the comments to always talk about Liam Cooper starting. I think he's Liam Cooper's uncle or something like that. I don't believe, I don't know who he is, but he's always talking about whenever we go for a bad patch, that Liam Cooper is going to be the answer, forgetting that when Liam Cooper was partnering Robin Koch, that Robin Koch was a disaster as well, because he didn't trust his partner. But it's always these guys that always get revision. I remember it last season actually, when Luke Ayling stunk out the joint at the start of the first half of the season. He went out injured, remember? And then all of a sudden, oh, we need Luke Ayling back. He's our best right back. It always happens for these guys, but it don't happen on this channel. It's not happening here. Michelle Lee saying, hi, KG, catching you live at 5:10. Oh, man, I can't believe you're awake at that time watching this, but thank you so much, Michelle. Yeah, Crypto Steve, Ayling was rank at the end of last season. Stupid tackles off his feet, getting skinned, just run past with ease, not to mention giving away penalties. You know what, guys, you're making this easier for me. You know what I mean? Because at certain points, and you know what, and I've put this as the title because I don't want to keep going on about this throughout the rest of the season, because it's going to happen as long as he's getting picked. But I just wanted to get it encapsulated in one video as to why this guy, first of all, shouldn't be starting, and also should not be captain. I think it sends out a rotten message to the rest of the team that he's wearing the captain's armband in the form he's in. And it doesn't, and also to the rest of the Premier League. I look at other Premier League teams and I say he's their captain. That's the guy that's leading Leeds United Football Club. What a joke. And that's me as a fan. So just think about what other players are thinking, especially when they keep on targeting him as our weak link. And Stu is saying we simply lacked an on-the-field captain. No Verba, no Adams. They're our future. But there's other players. There's other players that can take the armband. You know what? Even though I wouldn't start him and he's not a captain, even Bamford could take the armband. Seriously, for me, it's gone past the point. There's got to be a certain kind of respect that a captain gets. Now I know the captain's armband don't have that weight that it used to. Back when it really mattered, but it still sends out a bit of a message, man. It sends a bit of a message, and yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Rodrigo, I mean, that's the other thing. As I said, Bamford there, even he'd be better, but Rodrigo should be starting. And again, we got to talk about that as well. Um, let's have a look. Kyle here saying, "Thank God for you, KG." I don't know about that. A much needed perspective when Leeds have us feeling this miserable. That is the worst second half of football I've ever seen from Leeds United. My brain still hasn't processed. Yeah, I know. It's there's no words for it. It's very, very hard to find the words for how we capitulated in that second half. And the most worrying thing is that Javi Gracia confirmed it. He was asked about it, saying that if was that goal before halftime the reason for the heads dropping, and he said yes. How worrying is that? That an equalizing goal, yes, it was against the run of play, but what you're supposed to feel hard done by? Goals against the run of play happen almost every week, but you want to all drop your heads and say, "Oh, we should be winning 1-0 going into the second half. I'm sad." What? You're professional footballers, man. You're at home, big game. 3 points takes you into mid-table. People are probably not even talking about you being relegated anymore, but you want to drop your heads after an equalizer. What? And I mean Bjorn, he's another Bjorn's one of these guys that thinks the promotion boys can do no wrong. So shout out to you, Bjorn. Have to remember though, Bill's not picking himself, not for the team, not as captain. You say that, Bjorn, but there are people that do step aside as captains, and it's been known through history that when certain players know they're not at a certain level, they'll step aside. So he could step aside if he really wanted to. But overall, you're correct. That is on the manager to say, okay, you're out of the team. I've got to make the right decision here. And like I say, I'm going to get to the numbers in a bit as to why. Um, but yeah, you can give the captaincy to someone else, and you would think, and that's another thing as well for me. And we saw it in the fourth goal against Arsenal, where he's the one being jumped over for their goal, and he's blaming Rasmus for it. He's got For me, that tells me he's got no self accountability. And for me, a captain, you must have accountability because that's you're projecting that to the rest of the team. That's just me, though. We all have different ideas of what captain should be. That's just one of mine. Um, no, not putting no Ted Lasso of it. By the way, Ted Lasso is a very good program. By the way, see, and that's a few other comments that have been said as well. But I don't know if everyone's read so far. But Jesse Marsh won't be going to Leicester, so we don't have that to look forward to. And I think it's the same kind of reasons that it fell through for the Southampton job, where he's looking for longer term, whereas they're looking for him to be more of an interim manager, and he said no. So it just shows you, doesn't it? It just shows you as well the lack of creativity is in football, where a guy that hasn't really made it at Leeds for whatever reasons is being offered two jobs in fellow relegation battles. It's insane, isn't it? It it just shows you, doesn't it? Morello asking, "Did you see Bamford's interview? Personally, I drop him. He's peed me off. I don't watch Patrick Bamford's interviews, Morello. I'm sorry. I've said this before, but I'll just say it again because obviously there's new subscribers that come in. I don't watch or read anything to do with that guy. Um, he's not for me. So if he's peed you off, and it's not the first time I've heard this. There was a couple weeks ago where he allegedly said something. I can't confirm or deny. I just refuse to listen to that guy talk. Who knows here? Drama must be really angry at the shambles at Leeds United. Well, yeah, uh, angry, disappointed, confused, all of those. But you know what? He'll still get if he decides to leave in the summer. This guy wasn't up for it. He never wanted to be at Leeds. You'll still get fans saying that about him, even though we've got two right backs at the club. That it's like poison, or you know me, you know the things I say: stab wound or poison. That's what we've got with our two right backs currently. But if he decides to leave in the summer after being messed about by two coaches, he'll still get the blame. It's crazy, isn't it? But Bob's here. Yeah, yeah. Here we go. I'm trying. We got to stay calm today, people. We got to stay calm. Not Bob's here saying not to forget Ayling was offered a new contract because of two half decent performances against Man United. Well, Bob's that contract would have already been sorted. They were just waiting for the right time. And the right time was he did have two half decent performances against Man U overall. And that was the right time to announce the year extension. If you was, it's just like with the Jack Harrison thing. If you was announcing Jack Harrison's new contract after the first transfer window, after the Newcastle move didn't go through, it wouldn't have been received very well because he was well off form. If it was after the January transfer window closed and he was getting continuously picked and not doing anything, wouldn't have gone down very well. It's all about timing, and you have to execute properly. And that's why I maintain, as crazy as it sounds and as ridiculous as it sounds, if Adam Forshaw was fit, I know he was on the bench yesterday, but if he was fit and putting in half decent performances, I think he would have got a year extension too. I do. And he shouldn't be anywhere near the team. He shouldn't be in the championship. But I do believe that. Genuinely believe that if Forshaw had put out a few heat map performances, he would have got an extension too. Carl here saying, thanks, KG. Yeah, thank you, Carl, for the support. Uh, Noel Shello Bielsa. Okay. I can't name all the blame at Ayling. The whole team was culpable in that second half performance, correct? Hopefully they can put it behind them and get back to a decent level against Liverpool. 100%. And Ayling isn't the only problem from yesterday, but he's a big problem. He's a big problem, and it's on the wider scope of what I'm talking about here. But you're absolutely correct. They were all culpable for it yesterday in the second half. Every single one of them had their head struck. I couldn't believe, you guys couldn't believe what you were seeing. You guys couldn't believe what you're seeing. Um, Philip is saying we have to buy another right back urgently. Drama won't come back because he's not being picked by any manager, so who could blame him? 100%. 100%. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, in regards to Luke Ayling and you know the reasons why he shouldn't be captain, and there's also rumors going on around if there was a bust up at halftime. Now I can't confirm or deny that, but even if there was, that's not a bad thing, people. It's okay for committed professionals to scrap it out a little. It is. It's okay. Bust ups happen a lot of the time. It's just that they very rarely ever get leaked out. And I'm just saying, if it was true, it's fine, because all you do is you have a bust up, and usually on the day or the day after, you shake hands and go, hey, sorry about that. You know, it's very rare that it goes on for years. You know, say like Cole and Sheringham, when they had their bust up, it usually gets nipped in the bud. But it's okay for them to butt heads if they find things unacceptable with each other's performances. Say it. I don't know why anyone would want them to all just sit there in silence or just hold hands and go, no. In competitive sports, sometimes you gotta tussle it out. That's just how it is. Um, and so for me, there's no problem there. But I look at Luke Ayling as captain. The reason why I've said that he needs to be removed as a captain option. I know that Liam Cooper's not currently playing, so he's not captain. Good, but I look at it from a non-football point of view, and I try and relate it to just regular jobs, you know, that we've all had or will have or whatever it is. But when you've had a team leader, say, you know, you've got your manager above, and then you've got a team leader, and you're following the guidance of your team leader. If your team leader is shaky in your workplace, you look at them funny and go, "How is this guy leading us?" And then the manager up top, when the results aren't coming in, is looking at all of us like it's all our faults, and the team leader is the one giving us guidance. That's how I look at Luke Ayling, in terms of he's putting in stinker after stinker. I mean, he's stinking up the joint, people. He's being targeted by other clubs week in, week out, and they're supposed to follow that example. Think of it, you know, you always talk about the young players following the example. Is that the example that you want your youngsters following? A Luke Ayling of the football world? And this is it in Hill football. Hopefully for me, Verba, please be fit for the Liverpool game. If Verba is fit, he needs to wear the captain's armband. It would be Tyler Adams for me, but I don't know how when we're going to see Tyler Adams back. I really don't know when he's going to be back. But I just look at him. Does he inspire you? I said the same about Liam Cooper as well. When he comes out after we get beaten, the way he sounds, I know he probably sounds differently in the changing room, but he doesn't inspire me when he's still, yeah, we got to do better. Oh, we'll just try and get better next week. And I mean, that doesn't inspire me for nothing. You know, when I was speaking to Tyler and what he was saying on and off camera, he inspired me. He got me believing, and he got a lot of you believing that we're gonna be all right this season. We're gonna turn this thing around. The Luke Ayling thing is baffling for me. And the captain's armband at this club seems to be a bit of a weight where if you're captain, that you must be played. So that's another reason why he needs to be taken off him. I look at other clubs where their captains don't play. They're the club captain, but they don't play. We don't seem to be able to do that here. And it's not just management. I've said this before. It is fans as well. It's fans as well because they read all and hear everything that fans are putting out. Whether it's when Luke Ayling has a thing on social media when he's to do with his stammer stuff, they read the comments about Ayling. Oh, stay forever, Bill. What a captain! He's the leader. It's just like with the Schroeder thing, where we're about to appoint Schroeder, and there's a big backlash in articles online. They hear about it and they say, you know what, this isn't a good idea. It's fans. You guys could help if you don't just keep on saying, Bill, stay forever. You know what I mean? You know what? And there's fans watching this now going, how can you blame the fans? It's all interaction. They read it all. Just like when campaigns don't go very well, and then you see an hour later, they're deleted. Things like that help. And I thought we was turning the corner, by the way. I thought we was turning the corner, by the way, in the last international tournament that was played when Adam Forshaw and Luke Ayling had a video out on the official website, and people were in the comments saying, I can't believe these two are still at a Premier League club. I thought we was turning the corner, but no, two half decent performances against Man United just changed everything. Just changed everything. Um Richard Ruff here saying, hi, KG, good afternoon. I'm so fed up with yesterday. Gracia is too placid. Ayling, Bamford, Melier all should be dropped. Harrison, new contract. Oh, it's only to get value on him when he leaves in the summer. We'll see. We'll see if he does leave in summer. I don't think he will. I think the assurances that he was seeking was that he'll be here next season. That's just my feeling at this point. But we'll see, won't we? We are Leeds saying Ayling needs to go. He's not even a proper Prem player. Get rid of the old guard. Get sentiment out the door. I'm sick of it. Well, and just this is just for let me see. Let me do this. Okay. Let me see if this works. Here we go. Okay, right. Right. Okay. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see those numbers? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I can see you. Sometimes, yeah, you know me, this isn't going to be a regular thing for me where I bring up these kind of things, but sometimes you need to see it to believe it. Luke Ayling versus Crystal Palace, 90 minutes played. Right, I'm not going to go through all these numbers, okay? But 32 times lost possession. I need you to deep that from right back in your team. 32 times lost possession. Some people say make it bigger. Pause. Okay, that's as big as I can make it. All right. I need you to understand something in terms of lost possession. When I always allow like a creative midfielder, when you know when you hear a creative midfielder's got like a 60% pass rate, that's usually because they're trying to do balls where they're trying to split the lines, break the lines of defense and low blocks and everything else like that, or balls over the top for their striker, and you expect it. But 32 times lost possession from right back is abysmal, people. Yeah, big pause, Raven. I know I made it bigger pause. I know. Guys, you don't have to take my word for it. Some people need to see it. Read that and weep. Literally weep. God. And also in regards to Rasmus, and I get the argument Rasmus isn't much better. And I'm not saying Rasmus is the answer at right back. I'm really not. But we need a different thing now. Let's see some new mistakes. Let's see what Rasmus can do, because when he's looking like he's off balance, he might get a tackle in. He might. But Luke Ayling is abysmal. And I'm sorry, if this is a captain for you, okay, cool. Everyone's got different opinions on football. I get it. Not for me. Not for me. I could have put in these stats yesterday, and I would have got a red card to go with it because I wouldn't have allowed them to keep running around me like that. Oh man. Man, oh man. Let me just come out of here. Let me just come out of here. Sometimes you have to read it to believe it. All right. I get it. I get it. Gabe here, super chat. Thank you, Gabe. KG, any truth to the halftime dust up in the changing room would explain a lot in the second half. Teams start playing for each other. Well, I mean, like I say, I can't confirm or deny that. But what I will say is that those kind of things can go in your favor where people are just so mad. Seen it before in terms of, I mean, just recently, Henderson and Allison had a bust up, didn't they, for Liverpool? But they shook hands after, everything's cool. Usually things like that can go in your favor, but in our case, it will probably go against us in terms of, oh well, if you guys are having a bust up, then why should we care? But I'm not saying, I'm not confirming or denying anything. I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So anyway, I've given my thoughts on Luke Ayling. I'm hoping not to keep on continuing in regards to him. But what I will say, if he is dropped for the next game against Liverpool, it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden he's had a knock in training. He's got something, so he's out the team. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play that he's had a knock in training. But there you go. But yeah, there's a few other things. It's not just him. We got to speak about other people as well. Um, let me just get something here. Uh, all right, coming back to you. Here we go. Smooth as smooth as nothing. Right, here we go. Okay, here's another one. And we'll talk about Millier just after. But Rucker yesterday, Eze had it easy. Eze was having fun with Mark Rucker. He was having fun with our defense. But yeah, Mark Rucker was a disaster yesterday as well. Not the only one. There's one as well with Rasmus being dribbled past about, I think it was 14 times or something like that. But what I will say for Rasmus is that he's had trouble on the right. So I don't know why you'd put him on the left, and that's on Javi Gracia. That's on his head. But yeah, Mark Rucker, that you can't do that in a game against Crystal Palace, man. You've got to be better than that. Have to be. This is where accountability comes in. I praised you for he was excellent against Forest. This is like a yin yang thing. Like he was legitimately excellent against Forest. I called him the conductor. You're not conducting anything with these kind of numbers. But hey, crazy, crazy stuff. I mean, just disastrous all round yesterday. Just disastrous all round. Vavi here saying Rasmus playing at right back doesn't fill me with confidence either, but he has to start over A now. Vavi, he doesn't fill me with confidence. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that this guy is going to shore everything up, but you can't be setting the example as captain, having stinker after stinker and keep playing. And there's other players that have half decent games and get dropped. That sets a disgusting example, in my opinion. I don't believe in that kind of seniority. Never have done. I just don't believe that you should be playing with these kind of numbers. Let Rasmus have a go at right back or rejig it around while Verber's out. Robin Cox played at right back before. I know this is square pegs round holes, but we're desperate. Put Robin Cox at right back for a bit if the worst comes to the worst, but we need something else there. He's got to come out of the team. Has to. Um Nige is saying, I hope Javi shows players these stats. Nige, I've seen what these guys like record. Um, yeah, listen, I've seen what they go in, and they go in way deeper than what we've got. They've got all kinds of numbers that they track, that they look at. They've got all kinds of data that they go over. These are just surface numbers to these guys. They wouldn't. They probably look at these and then drill into it as to why and where and how it happened. So they do have all these numbers, and that's another thing for me. As in, if he does continue to play him, why? Why is he continue to play him even with those kind of numbers? You know what I mean? Kyle here saying Robin Cox was excellent in the first half yesterday. I disagree, Kyle. I think that when it came to the set pieces, he was lost. You think about the first one as well, the first corner that they had, he left Schlupp free. I don't know how Schlupp missed that, by the way, but he left him free on that one. He was then he was then involved in the tussle that kept Gahey on side. He wasn't aware of his position there. Whereas if he stepped up a bit, Gay, he would have been offside. I don't think he was excellent yesterday. I think he was very, very shaky overall in the game. And also, as well, people, because there was four people yesterday that came back to me about the free kick being conceded and whose fault it was. Now, I can understand if you get Jack Harrison and Luke Ayling mixed up on the right. I can get it. They both have the ponytails up and everything else like that. But I don't get how you've got Firpo and Rucker mixed up because it was Rucker's foul that led to the free kick. Not that it matters. Your foul can be given anywhere, but the people so desperate to put something at Firpo's door that they were saying that Firpo's foul led to the free kick. Insane to me. But it was Rucker's foul, by the way, and that's just how it is. Uh, insane stuff. Also, want to talk about Melier, if you would indulge me, because for the first one, I said if he stands up, he probably catches that gay he shot because it was going, it was trickling over. He didn't need to dive out at his feet. I don't know what he was doing on that one, but there's also the thing like the fourth goal, Edouard's goal, where it goes across him and into the bottom corner. But when you look at him diving down, what is he actually attempting to do? He's not spreading his legs out. He doesn't stick an arm out. He just falls to the floor and puts his body down on the floor. I don't know what he's doing. But again, young goalkeeper, still developing. But for me, after 100 appearances in the Prem, I expect a little bit better than that. That's just me, though. Tell me how you're feeling in regards to that. Sam saying Mez was shocking. I think he was bad yesterday, really bad. Now I know you can't save every single shot; it's not realistic. But sometimes you just got to give us a chance. Make a save, and that's what I said in my top five and most disappointing, where he made both lists. Like he's really good at one-on-ones where someone's running through. Like I trust him almost with my life with that. But when there's a few bodies in the box, whether that's his positional awareness or not, they seem to go through him. I don't know what it is with Melier in terms of that. Charlie, I don't get how Furpo's foul would lead to Rucker's foul. It was Rucker's choice to foul. I know some people just let me not say too much. Let me not say too much. I mean, Stu here saying Melier doesn't get in the French squad for a reason. He doesn't get in at this point because Magnan is the number one and will be for a long time. He's a superb goalkeeper, but he does have a chance to get in there. You've seen who the third choice is. It's Areola from West Ham. He does have a chance to break in, but he's got to be better. And for anyone that's thinking on Pile Melier, he said this himself. Literally, words came out of his mouth during the international break saying that he needs to be better. So he knows this. He knows this himself. Nige saying Mez is the last line, keeps making errors, but our defense should stop the supply at him 100%. Because that ball that went through the time where Fobo is standing off Elise because he's on the yellow card and it goes through both Strauch and Robin Koch. Yes, he does need to be protected more 100% on things like that. But shots where it goes across him, and I think if he sticks out a hand, maybe he can save it. I think he'll be disappointed with some of these goals that he keeps on conceding this season. I really do. And also as well, Elise, how we was talking about gifts being given out. I missed out one. Let me just go through the gifts one more time. The Leedsy stuff. Gahey, first goal since November 2021. AU, second and third goals of the season. By the way, Eagle Eye Football, who's a Palace fan, said, it's a bad day when AU scores two goals in the comments yesterday. Tells you everything. Damn. August 20th was the last time Palace scored three goals in the game. First time they scored four a season. They hadn't won a game this season without Zaha. They did yesterday. Edouard's first goal since October. And the last one is Elise, youngest player in Premier League history to get three open play assists in a game. So there you go. Just more presents handed out. We are so generous, people. We are so generous as a football club. Oh, man, if you don't laugh, I don't know. I don't know. Uh, let's have a look. Well, what's everyone saying? I know I'm giving you a lot of bad stats today, but I'm afraid after a 5-1 loss at home, there's not much good that I can say in today's stream. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that's just how it is. Um, but yeah, I think that's it. If there's anything else, we'll go through it. But yeah, D here saying at least saying as some signings, every Leeds fan would have taken one of them, but Orton knows better. But yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I don't know how long you've been a subscriber of mine, D. Your name sounds long term, but yeah, they weren't coming to Leeds United. They wanted to stay in London, both of them. They wanted to stay down south, so that was never an option. Uh, and that one is a fact as well, by the way. But yeah, Sam here is saying, "What do you think about the Rutter hate on Twitter? I haven't seen it. I see it with a couple of people on here. Don't understand how he's being singled out for a 12-minute cameo and trying to win a pen. Yeah, I mean the dive was a bit shocking. You know, I'm a football man, and yeah, I'm not into diving, so you know, it doesn't matter if they're wearing the shirt or not. I know we were desperate, but you know, it was 5-1 at the time, and he came on at 5-1 again, something at Javi Gracia's door. And like I said in yesterday's stream, Sam, you know the reason why professionals are professionals, because I would have told him where to go if you're sending me on with 12 minutes to go at 5-1 down when you've hardly played me in any other game. But yeah, I mean, there are people with agendas against Jorginho for whatever reason. I've got one on here who interacted with me in the live stream, and then at 1:30 in the morning still came back with more Rutter stuff. And then I'll click on their name and see that in the top players, top 5 disappointments, they said, what about rotten disappointments? For whatever reason, he's drawing this kind of like ire from the fan base when he's hardly playing. And again, it's not his fault if he's not playing, and it's not his fault that he cost 35 million. You know, that needs to be directed elsewhere. I will say, as I always do, though, he did choose to come here, so you know he should have been ready for that in terms of what's expected. But I don't get how you can pick out anything from that 5-1 defeat and go to Rutter for a 12-minute cameo at 5-1 down. I don't understand it. Um, but Javi Gracia as well, for me, has to clean up his team selections. It's okay when it goes in your favor. It's all right when it works. But for me, no more seeing Nanto on the bench. No more seeing Rodrigo on the bench. When players are playing poorly, as the thing is, yesterday you could have taken your pick in the second half of who to come off, but Ayling should have been one. Harrison could have been another. But for some reason, some of the guys just always get 90 minutes no matter what. And for me, he has to clean that up. Uh, Reformian saying, I think it's more the fan base are angry against Orta for wasting a huge amount on him when it should have been spent elsewhere. Or is to blame and needs to walk this summer. And that's fine, Reformian, if that's the case. But it's not being directed at Orta when they're talking. They're talking about Jorginho and his talent level, where I don't know how anyone can really judge it from what we've seen so far. The person yesterday was still talking about the Accrington Stanley game. I mean, if you want to base it on that, then we should be expecting a goal again from Patrick Bamford. If you want to go on the basis of what happened against Accrington Bloody Stanley, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. It is what it is, people. Okay, one more thing before we end, and I just want to let me try and lock this in. Hey, love this stuff. Love this stuff. Here we go. Okay, just a quick look at the accounts from that were published. We're not going to go deep into it as such. Again, pause on deep stuff. But it's just to show you just a couple things, just to highlight some of the riches and some things that football fans should consider in terms of the riches of Premier League football and a club of our size of Leeds United, the record income of 189 million. You know, you see why we are where we are in that Forbes list because of the money that we bring in, and we're nowhere near being a European team again. That's the potential of this football club. And it can only get higher the longer we stay in the Premier League. And I'm sure the board and the 49ers know that as well. But that's amazing stuff. Record income of 189 million. I know people want to talk about the JKA stuff. Well, we all wondered what it was, didn't we, when they said that it was settled? Well, we settled for what is it, 2.5 million less from 18. And yeah, the Bielsa payoff. I mean, Stu is correct here. The Bielsa payoff was to cover his staff. It would have been for himself as well, by the way. You know, I know people want to think he's some kind of like all-seeing saint, but I'm sure he would have taken a few nickels. But yeah, it would have been for his staff in the main. That's why that figure is so high, because you know when you pay Bielsa, you pay his staff as well. Um, Let me just go down to some more stuff. some more stuff of note. If you want to see this, it's on Kieran Maguire's thing, and it's also at Company's House. You can always search these things online. Uh, yeah, the transfer installment stuff. I mean, that's pretty interesting. If you want to look at that stuff, we got some fees to pay out. Match day income up from 2 million to 24 due to the global thing that happened ending. Uh, and this is the one that I wanted to highlight for you. Total TV money 132 million to 150 million due to lower Premier League finish. And that was the kind of thing I wanted just to highlight as well when people are so flippant about where we finish. The Premier League is so rich that finishing ninth, you're getting a lot of money for finishing in ninth place like we did in the first year. But as you finish in 17th or where we currently are now, and it lowers your money. I think it's something like 2 or 3 million a place. And that doesn't get lost on Premier League buses and on club owners and everything else like that. And that's why it's important to get yourself as high at the league as possible. And I wanted just to highlight that kind of thing as well. Nigeria asking what other Premier League clubs have incoming. Kieran's got like I think he puts up most of them. I don't actually follow him. I saw this floated across my timeline, but you know, there are the big clubs they're in another atmosphere, in another stratosphere when it comes to income. But similar like teams around us, the potential that we have is unbelievable. Yeah, Reformian 3.1 million per place. That sounds about right. But I just wanted to highlight how important it is to finish well in the Premier League. Um, a just one is just for you guys that get annoyed with how much people earn. Angus Kinnear there, 568,000. Nice if you can get it, eh? But here's something else, and this is obviously before the Calvin Phillips and Rafinha sales. But Leeds spending so much money on players and the sales being 1 million people. That's appalling. And this is something that I was talking about. I've been talking about for a couple of years, in that we're spending so much money and bringing hardly anything in, up until obviously the Calvin Phillips and Rafinha sales. That had to change. And when I look at a player like Mateus Click also, and we'll see next year about how much that probably cost to get rid of Mateus Click at that point. But we could have sold that guy for a decent amount of money. I'm not saying he would have gone for 20 million, but it would have been better than paying him off in January this year. But these are the times I'm talking about. We could have got some money for some of these players that clearly weren't going to be good enough, but we've waited too long, whether that be to sentiment or whatever it may be. 1 million sales, 86 in buying. You can't sustain that. That's not a good business model. But it's not nothing to worry about though, people. Let me just scroll down. Nothing to worry about. Um, yeah, I mean, this is another one as well. If you want to just quickly look at that, Leeds are owed 5 million transfer installments by other clubs. I mean, pittance, man, pittance. But the club owes 103 million to other clubs for player purchases, and you got to believe that's players like Dan James and players like that. For no matter how much you dislike that, that's just how it is. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. This was the main one. I think I've said this is the main one for, but these are the main points I wanted to raise. Yeah, below. I'm laughing off camera here. Those are Ridsdale stats, man. We lived the dream. Should we have? No. Yeah, yeah. Those are Ridsdale numbers, man. Nick G, are we still paying Robbie Fowler? Oh yeah, I'm cheesing off screen, man. Hey, I love this, man. My face being covered. I see how you faceless people do it now. I'm joking, but yeah, listen. Leeds may have to pay transfer add-ons of 3 million and avoiding relegation bonuses of 42 million. So you see those relegate, actually makes me feel better on Football Manager, because I thought I was paying a lot out to players. That's pittance compared to real life, man, because that's a lot of bonuses out to staff, to players, if you avoid relegation. And that's the riches, again, of bonuses of what these players can earn just by staying in the league. The money is insane wherever you are in the Premier League. The money is insane. So there's another incentive to these players to stay up. It's either avoid relegation or probably your wages go halved in the championship before you if you don't get a move, if you don't move on to another club. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was it. That was it. Leeds United John saying, "Kin hell." Love the abbreviation there. We could be in big trouble when we get relegated. Oh, yeah, hey, when? What's all this when? If. But this guy, Kieran Maguire, who's a well-known guy, said, "Sully enough, plentiful saleable inventories." He says it's not an FFP problem. There's no problem there, but you can see from the finances people that yeah, I'm back now. You can see that there's things that need to be fixed in this football club in terms of outgoings as well as incomings. Things need to be a bit more balanced for me, and that's why I always remember. I'll never forget you. Some things in your YouTube like lifetime you never forget. And I remember when I even suggested after Bamford had got those goals and he was being linked with Spurs and Arsenal, I said get the money. And people just couldn't believe what I was saying because he got 17 Premier League goals that season. Sell Mateus Click. People weren't having it. They were leaving in droves. They went somewhere. I don't know where they're gone. You know, a couple people did apologize. I've said that before though. And so full credit to the couple that did apologize because they couldn't see the vision. But that's what I'm talking about. That you can't just keep on spending without getting money back in. And that's why going back to Melier, his reported fee could be like 30 million. I'm 100% taking 30 million for that guy. And if we're still in the Prem, I'm getting Livakovic from Dynamo. I know it's going to be tough to get him. There's going to be other clubs after him, probably around our bracket as well, like your Leicesters and everything else like that. But I'm getting him because he'll probably cost 8 million, £8 million, and you can get like near 30 for Melier. Let someone else pay for the potential, much like we pay for potential with Jorginho. That's what other people are paying for because he's at the same time he's proven, but he's not the full article yet. And I still think Melier's got another level he can get up to. But if you can get 30 million for him, get for me a better goalkeeper for 8, 10, you do it. That's just me. That's just me. Hey. um, but yeah, I mean that is what I wanted to highlight in the show. And you know what? I didn't plan on going for 42 minutes. That's why I didn't say at the start I'm only going to be quick because I'm never quick when I say that. But yeah, let's just go into your closing thoughts before we lock off the stream, people. And I hope you smashed the like for me. That's the best way to help the channel, and it's free. It's free. There's no amortization. It's free. You don't need to worry about any installments. Just hit the like. Thank you. Thank you. Jamie saying, hopefully we have a better future under 49ers KG because the past 18 months have been a shambles 100%. Orton needs to get his coat on the way out. And I do believe that when the 49ers take over, I know that is his name Padrag? I can't remember his name. But I know he's been working with Andrea and Victor. They're often at games with each other. But you'd like to think that the 49ers will have their own team that they want to send in. That would be the best case scenario. I do think we need a clean break because until that happens, you saw how emotional Victor Orta got when Mateus Click left in January 2023. Until these guys go, we're going to have a lot of legacy players left over, and I think we need a clean break from it all in terms of moving forward as a club. I do. Um, Bjorn here again, promotion boy extraordinaire here. You're not surprised people want to keep a 17 goal striker, sir. I'm not surprised if you do if you can't see like if you can't forecast the future. When I'm seeing a striker score 17 goals, for me that's called selling high. That's called striking while the iron's hot, and you've got to do that with a player like Bamford. I won't forget that he only scored 16 goals in the championship. And you know what? People like to always mention Bielsa in terms of being the best guy and everything else. But I think actually people forget how good the football was and how many chances we created in the championship. We was on fire in the championship. We was the ones creating like 30 chances a game. We were on top. We were dominant. And he got 16 league goals in the championship. Meanwhile, Carlin Grant down at Huddersfield, who finished 15, 16, had 19. So for me, it was never going to be Bamford long term. And at what was he then, 28, 28 or something like that? And he was being linked to Arsenal, Tottenham. You strike while the iron's hot, get the money and go for somebody else. But if you're just going off raw data, 17 goals behind, yeah, Paul, behind closed doors and everything else like that, that's fine. If you can't see beyond an anomaly, that's fine. But I can, okay, that I can. I don't always get it right, but I got it right with that one, didn't I? So there you go. Michelle Lee, about to start work. Thanks for the great content, KG. Much needed therapy. Thank you for joining me. Um, yeah, Lee, that's what I'm saying. Should have sold as soon as he got his England call up. English tax right there. And again, you see me, I'm fair. That England game, he should have got a goal, but he wasn't being played in. I remember the game. He was on, what was he on for a half? But I remember Jordan Henderson, all these guys, they weren't passing him the ball. And who was it against? It was against like San Marino or someone like that. It was against someone easy, Andorra, one of those teams. So again, I'm not unfair to the guy. I just call it how it is. And a lot of people can't take that. They prefer wishy-washy passion merchant stuff. And if you like that, that's cool. There's plenty of channels that do that. But I don't do that here. I look out for the best interests of Leeds United Football Club. And I will always do that. Andorra, yeah. But yeah, so there you go. I, yeah, Lewis, his wages are through the roof. Through the roof, you mean? Off the roof. Who's signing him? And again, we mentioned that with in the previous show where the Championship clubs, because of that global whatever happened, um, they don't have the money to buy players like Bamford anymore. They used to. You used to always see it, and when we was in the Championship, and we go, man, how can they get that player? How comes they spent 15 million on this player? You know, Fulham, when they came down, they bought Ross McCormack off us for 13 million again. That we rubbed them blind. But that just can't happen anymore. The clubs don't have it. They're struggling in the football league. They're really, really struggling. Again, if you want to go look at some of their accounts, you see, I saw one of the clubs where they owe 5 million, and it's not even to players, it's like to sponsors or something like that. No, suppliers, not sponsors, suppliers. Like the money that they have in the championship is nowhere near what they used to have before. Nowhere near. Uh, yeah, Bjorn here again. Seems a bit risky for me without my crystal ball. Yeah, listen, you know. But like I say, Bjorn, you can always create a channel yourself. I mean, anyone in the chat here, anyone that disagrees, you can always create your channel, your own channel, and push whatever it is that you want to push. It's fine. There's loads of channels now. There's like 500 Leeds United fan channels these days, isn't there? Make it 501. Okay. But no, it's all good, man. It's all good. The debate, everything else like that, cool. As long as it's respectful, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, people. This has been, again, this hasn't been the greatest stream, but I thought I'd just give a bit more information onto how I'm feeling in regards to certain things that happened yesterday and things that need to change going forward for the rest of this season alone. When it comes to the summer, we'll really address that one. But yeah, no, I can't put that one up. But Lee Waters here saying Leicester have opened up talks with Rafa now, according to Fabrizio. Yeah, I think Fabrizio. I think someone else said Dean Smith as well. So Leicester are trying to get the wheels in motion and getting their new manager in. So again, these are things that we're battling against down the bottom, and that's why 3 precious points yesterday would have been wonderful. But hey, it is what it is. People, listen, like the video, subscribe, drop your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. People, we've got another week to stew on this defeat. Lovely. Peace out.